Hi, I'm Sid Dobrin. In this video, I'll be talking about the Mapping Your Situation feature in the Writing to Argue chapter. When I teach the Mapping Your Situation feature in this chapter, I walk students through the process it illustrates. I ask students to begin mapping their situation by asking a series of questions about their purposes in writing to argue. What am I arguing about? Why am I arguing? What does my argument need to convey? How will I support my argument? Does my argument serve a larger purpose, or is it served by other rhetorical purposes, like writing to analyze or writing to describe, perhaps? Once they have a sense of their purposes in making their arguments, students should then begin asking about who will be reading their arguments, asking questions to determine what they know about their audience. At the same time, students should consider in what medium and by what method will they make their arguments. The questions they ask about medium and method should be asked in conjunction with their questions about audience. These questions cannot be asked without the influence of the other. I always want to show students that when thinking about and asking about audience, medium, and method, they should also start to question the context of their argument. Where will it occur? Where will it appear? What limits their argument? Each of these kinds of questions should be asked in conjunction with one another, as the answer to these questions work together to provide writers with information critical to their writing situations. Next, I ask students to start thinking about who else is already participating in the situation, who is arguing in the situation, and what the various relations are in the situation. This kind of questioning can help students understand other arguments already in play in the situation, and how their own arguments then work in relation to those already voiced in the situation. One thing I try to emphasize with students is the ways that institution and power can constrain what counts as viable argument within a situation. I do this by talking about the kinds of things that the university might see as viable or out of bounds for methods of arguing, and what might define a scholarly argument. As a complex series of questions, I then ask students to think about the networks in which their arguments will circulate. These questions ask students to think about how their writing will circulate and participate with other voices in the situation. Ultimately, this degree of questioning asks students to consider how their writing might affect the situation and others who participate in it. I also try to talk with students about how situations undergo change, even as a writer tries to analyze and lock down a situation. I encourage students to analyze and map their situations multiple times as they write to analyze within a situation. So those are a few thoughts about walking students through the Mapping Your Situation feature with an eye toward teaching students how situational awareness is integral to the activity of writing to argue. Thanks for watching, and thanks for using Writing Situations.